Okay, welcome to TRB Conversations at CES, powered by Exco, joined by Mark Floreani, the CEO, co-founder of FloSports. I want to talk about the macro trends of niche sports. I'm obsessed. Like sports are obviously so much money is flowing into sports with the changes to the media ecosystem, has so many different advantages. And first of all, just so people know, explain FloSports.
FloSports is a direct-to-consumer sports media and technology platform. We stream over 50,000 events, and to put that in perspective, that's the most in the U.S. by any company, focusing on what we call middle and long-tail sports. And we also produce hundreds of thousands of pieces of content, from podcasts to videos and software for these sports to run on.
All right, so when you talk about these mid and long tail sports, let's call them niche. I think they're niche, but what are we talking about here?
Yeah, I mean,
Badminton. What else?
we got wrestling, we do cheerleading, we do motorsports underneath NASCAR, everything in hockey underneath the NHL, jiu-jitsu, marching band, things like that, rugby, cycling that are more popular outside the United States. All of those are kind of in the middle and long tail. And you say niche, middle and long tail, but the market is now kind of figuring out how big it is. I mean, recently, Washington Post, New York Times said this is a $40 billion a year market. We've been at it for 20 years, knowing that, hey, that these communities, that if you add them up together, they're going to be pretty big. And now the market's starting to realize that.
So give me because I think it's interesting because it goes into the more specific you can be and the more you can organize around a community is the best place to be in media. And I think it's something like cheerleading you mentioned, right? I don't have a ton of experience in the cheerleading sector. But I would guess that if you're into cheerleading, you're really into cheerleading.
You are into cheerleading. You are spending your weekends, you're spending your disposable income driving or flying to these different tournaments.
They have a lot of competitions too.
Tons of competitions. I mean, in cheerleading is varsity, who just got bought by KKR for billions of dollars. They're the biggest customer of Disney. They have big events in Disney, and they have more cheerleaders going to Disney to compete than any other organization. So cheerleading is massive. They have events with over 100,000 people, and there's a passionate rabid.
Wait, 100,000 people go to a cheerleading event?
Yeah, over a weekend, right?
Wow.
It's they have one in Dallas. They have one in Dallas.
Seems like a kind of thing you would have in Dallas.
Cheerleading, man, if you actually look at it, it's like gym. If you like gymnastics, right? But you have 15 girls and you're throwing them up in the air. It's very precise. You have to be very strong. And I wasn't big into cheerleading, but then getting into it, it's a pretty
no, they're
sport.
athletic. It's definitely a sport. Yeah. So I will give them all the credit in the world. But it also, I feel like sports is so hot right now for a couple other reasons. One is just IP, right? Like having IP rights these days, again, that's where you want to be in media. And the other is a lot of times, particularly these niche sports, I feel like they lend themselves to a lot of different, monetization models. You can make money in a whole bunch of different ways. How do you guys play in both those areas?
Yeah, so we have moved into IP. So we own 3 motorsports series. We own a couple combat series in wrestling and jiu-jitsu, and we do that because we really want to own the full customer experience. And so the middle and long tail has been very unprofessional for a while, and so start times are wrong. The events aren't run well, and by owning the IP, we can own it from registration, ticketing, to broadcast times, to make sure that we're really delivering a great customer experience for the sport. And then we also own it, so we don't have to rent the rights.
Yeah. So I think about UFC a lot, right? And I don't think about it a lot, but I think about it right now. That's a complete lie. But I do remember when UFC, I remember reading a New York Times magazine article about whether cage fighting should be banned. And, that's where that started. And now UFC, for better or worse, is going to be taking place on the White House lawn. And it has really arrived as a major sport and a major category. When you're looking at, give me a candidate or two that could be the next UFC.
Well, I think cricket actually could be pretty
Oh
big.
God,
Yeah, cricket.
you're gonna have to do a good sales job, Anthony, for that. Don't they like a match or whatever, a test lasts like 3 days?
Well, if you they've changed that now. It's about 3 hours, and it's actually the most valuable rights outside the NFL is the IPL in India. Motorsports. There is such a passionate following in motorsports. That's why we own 3 series. Any weekend across the country, there are hundreds of tracks all over the Midwest that are getting tens of thousands of people. We're going to be in Tulsa, Oklahoma on a dirt track indoors next week, and we'll have NASCAR drivers racing it. We'll have IndyCar drivers racing it. We'll get hundreds of thousands of people to watch, these different types of motorsports. So motorsports still has a lot of room to grow in the United States. NASCAR and F1 obviously on the top, but there's a ton of different genres out there.
How about pickleball?
Pickleball. Everyone asks me about pickleball. We are not in pickleball. There's a lot of drama in pickleball. There's a lot of drama, a lot of billionaires fighting it out over not a lot of viewership. So we kind of stay away from that.
Okay, it seems to me that the pickleball bubble has mostly deflated and paddle has taken its place, mostly because paddle appeals to rich people, and I think a lot of niche sports, particularly when they appeal to rich people, they attract a lot of attention. I mean, when you're talking about motorsports, it's not like F1.
Mm-hmm.
F1 exploded for a bunch of different reasons, but as a category, the amount of money that gets thrown around at F1 races is just unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean,
that's why people are trying to make yachting and stuff the next F1.
Yeah, yachting will be difficult. Just the production is really hard. But yeah, there is a lot of money, obviously, in F1, but there's a lot of regular people that are racing on the weekends in Ohio and Pennsylvania that, this is like in their blood. So I would say that racing's a little different and motorsport's a little different than pickleball, but agree when there's a bunch of billionaires fighting it out, it's not an area that we like to go into.
Okay. Okay. So, I'm sorry, I'm just reading through this. Okay, so what so when you're talking about like your monetization, are you mostly monetizing through video, or like explain how you guys monetize?
Yeah, so of the 50,000 events, right, we stream those live, and it's a subscription to watch most of those. And so people pay, a premium price point, $30 a month or $150 a year, and we have well over 1 million subscribers doing that. We have advertising, and then we have software.
Okay, great. And how do you break that up?
Subscription is our oldest, and it's about 90%. And so we're adding those other two to build out, a more portfolio of revenue streams.
Yeah. How about attaching brands to these sports? I would think that would be a big opportunity.
Yeah. So, next week at the Chili Bowl, Chili's is our sponsor. We're bringing in Tony Stewart to do a pre-race show. And so, we've had Kubota, we have a bunch of shoe companies, Brooks, then we create content, we integrate them into the broadcast, obviously spots and dots and pre-rolls, but we really want to integrate them into these communities because these communities are super passionate. And once you advertise in these communities, you're actually, as a brand, you're part of that community because the community knows that you're investing in it, and then we invest in the communities ourselves, right? We're going to spend over $100 million into these sports. We're the biggest spender in terms of rights fees, production, content, marketing. And so when we get brands aligned with us, the community really likes to go out and support those brands.
Okay. Mark, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.